Did you know that your gut and your brain are in constant communication? The gut is actually known as the second brain, the enteric nervous system. It is like we have two brains in our bodies. And because they're so closely related, what goes on in the gut has a massive impact on how we feel and also how we navigate the menopause. So today I'm going to break it down into its sort of most important component parts, try and keep it fairly simple, and explain to you the things that you can do to help improve your gut health if you feel that you're struggling with it, and also what to look out for if your gut is not as healthy as you think it might be. Your gut is home to around 39 trillion microorganisms, collectively known as the gut microbiome. Now, I've actually seen some reports that say it's home to 100 trillion microorganisms. However many it is, it's a heck of a lot. Your gut, the bacteria in your gut weigh around 3 pounds, which is pretty much the same as what your brain weighs. I thought that was quite incredible. You would think that they're just sort of these little things floating around, but collectively they have such an important impact on literally every day that you show up in your life. They are affecting you either positively or negatively. Today's video really is for you to help understand how to make them work for you more positively and how to balance out the negative aspects of it. So you may have heard about the vagus nerve. Basically, it connects the brain to the gut. It's like the super highway of information, and they both speak to each other. The vagus nerve is also really important for triggering the relaxation response. I've been a psychotherapist for over 17 years. I specialize in anxiety. And one of the first things I always teach my clients is how to deep breathe. And they look at me, it's just like, I need something really useful. Deep breathing actually stimulates the vagus nerve because of the movement of the abdomen, and we cannot be stressed and relaxed at the same time. So by deep breathing, if you're struggling with anxiety, a buildup of stress, I know so many of us are throughout the menopausal years, focus on deep breathing. Just slow deep breathing in and slow deep breathing out. And don't worry about getting it there's a lot of different methods out there. Just breathe in and fill your up to your belly, make sure your belly's rising. You really want to be reaching the air into the depths of your lungs. And if you can hold it for a few seconds, then just breathe it out slowly. That's going to have such an impactful, positive response on calming your nervous system. So the vagus nerve is really important in how we feel. Do we feel stressed? Do we feel calm? And the impact that has on so many different aspects of our bodies. Our gut health journey actually starts at birth. So if you were delivered vaginally, you will have the right kind of combination of bacteria, ideally, that has helped populate your gut for health above and beyond, particularly if you had the first breast milk, the colostrum. If you were delivered by C-section, and also if you missed out on your first colostrum, the first milk that the mother gives, you do have a higher risk of gut-related issues, also allergies, asthma, that sort of thing. It's not, oh, you were delivered by C-section, so you're going to have allergies. Not at all. And I know a lot of people that are really healthy and actually have grown up in really natural environments, and their gut's absolutely fine. Also, if you've had like antibiotics, a large amount of medications, those can really negatively impact your gut microbiome. They kill off they kill off pretty much everything. So that's why it's very important that you work on repopulating your gut with the healthy bacteria once you've been through a course of treatment. The good news is that the gut actually recovers pretty well. It's just that you need to know what you need to do, because I think most of us, we take antibiotics and we never even give our gut a second thought. But then you might be having these ongoing issues, and particularly with menopause, as estrogen falls, it does slow down the motility of our gut. We have pretty much all of our cells around the body contain receptors for estrogen. So as estrogen is falling, we really do need to be very mindful of how to support our body naturally through and beyond. Now, if you're taking HRT, you'll naturally be getting that estrogen. And if it's working for you and it's beneficial, absolutely brilliant. I know a lot of people who took HRT and really responded to it negatively, or they cannot take HRT for whatever reasons. I just chose not to. I've taken the lifestyle approach. I'm very proactive in maintaining my health through lifestyle approaches. My bone mass is brilliant. My muscle mass is brilliant. I went through perimenopause early. I think I was through the whole thing by the age of 41. I'm now 54, and I feel like I'm thriving. And I don't struggle with belly fat. I did before I started making the few tweaks that I've sort of share on this channel regularly. But I just want you to know that if you can't take HRT, if you choose not to take HRT, lifestyle factors will really support you well. I think, you know, it's a bit like sort of the vegans or the non-vegans or the Janes. You know, we've become so separate. And in actual fact, all we're trying to do is all live healthy, happy lives. So rather than being in judgmental of other people's opinions or strategies for their life, as long as it's not having a negative impact on you personally, I think it's very important that we have an open mind and we're willing to embrace these things and actually take action on these things that are going to help us. Even if you take HRT, you still need to focus on your lifestyle, because it's not a cure-all. And I know a lot of women who've gone on HRT to lose the weight and they actually gained weight. So really, you know, focus on what specifically is it that you need to benefit from taking the HRT. And like I really want to stress, this is not anti-HRT at all. If it's working for you, great. But be mindful that lifestyle will also really further support you in your endeavours to age healthily and have a thriving sort of second half or 2/3 of the remainder of your life. Because with a little bit of luck, you've got a heck of a lot of life left ahead of you. Let's have that full of vital health, rather than, you know, just aging and just becoming frailer, weaker and declining and ending up in an old people's home because we're not able to take care of ourselves. So the gut mental health connection, this is something that first got me into understanding or deep diving into gut health because it's so fascinating. When the gut microbiome has been explored under the microscope, we can see that in individuals who are showing up with depression or serious anxiety, they often have an overload of the unhealthy bacteria and much fewer of the healthy bacteria in their gut. This is so important to understand because things like serotonin, one of your happy hormones, when you go onto antidepressants, they are serotonin reuptake inhibitors. So they essentially allow the serotonin that's in your body to stay in your body for longer. 90%, 90 to 95% of your serotonin is created in the gut. So gut health is really, really important for your mental health. And that vagus nerve connection, that superhighway that we have, when you can focus on the healthy bacteria or building up your healthy bacteria and crowding out the negative bacteria, you are going to have a significant impact on not just how happier you're feeling, how much more peaceful and contented and calm in life you are, but you're also going to have better energy, your skin will improve, your sleep will improve, pretty much every aspect of your life will improve. So understanding that mental health, gut health connection is absolutely vital for your happy longevity. Falling estrogen can also lead to dysbiosis. So it's that imbalance in our healthy versus unhealthy bacteria in our guts. So as long as you're aware of that, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to go through menopause and all of a sudden you're going to have all these gut-related issues. But a lot of us do have more gut sensitivities as we go through menopause and beyond. When you are aware of that fact, you can take the necessary steps in order to improve your gut health. So how to actually work on improving your gut health? We need a range of, there's quite a lot of research actually done on increasing fiber and also fermented foods. I've read some articles that have said we actually need not just fiber, but we also need those fermented foods to repopulate the gut properly. So the fiber-rich foods, those are your prebiotics, things like artichokes, bananas, onions, garlic, that sort of thing. Fibrous vegetables, the fiber in the vegetables and the fruit that we eat, also aim to eat a wide range of colors. So don't just think, well, I have an apple a day and I eat carrots and potatoes every day with my evening meal or whatever you might eat. Go for a wide variety, because that way you're feeding, it's like, you know, feeding any of us. We want a wide variety of vitamins and minerals and different food sources from healthy food sources. So your gut bacteria are exactly the same. They want a feast. They just don't want a couple of things, because then you might be feeding a certain type well, but you might not be covering all your bases. And also we know that if you aim to eat the color of the rainbow with your fruits and your vegetables, then you're also going to be getting a wide range of antioxidants, the vitamins and the minerals that are so crucial for your overall health. Now, fruits, vegetables, things like root vegetables, things like carrots, beets, potatoes, spinach, things that I absolutely love, they are high in oxalates, quite a few of those, dates as well, almonds as well. I eat a lot of high oxalate foods. You may have a sensitivity to high oxalate foods, so just be aware of that. High oxalate foods can contribute to kidney stones. So if you're struggling with kidney stones, avoid things like the almonds, the spinach, the beets, potatoes. Google it so you know specific. You've probably been advised already which foods to rule out, but just be mindful of that if you are eating, if you do struggle with kidney stones, to avoid those high oxalate foods. But I mean, there are so many different foods out there, so just choose the ones that suit you best, and hopefully you've already been advised about that. The same thing applies with fermented foods. If you are seriously immunocompromised, because fermented foods contain bacteria that's healthy for us, they're the probiotics, those are the healthy bacteria we want in our guts. If you have an immunosuppressed problem, make sure you run it by your doctor first, because it might not work especially well for you. So just a sort of couple of contraindications there. Fermented foods, things like sauerkraut, kimchi, kefir, kombucha, various raw cheeses have the probiotics in them. Pickles. If you're eating pickles, make sure that they're not absolutely crammed full of sugar too, because a lot of shop bought pickles are. So just be mindful of what I mean. I always make my own kombucha because I know that it's literally just got the essentials in it, and I let it ferment for longer than you probably do in the shop. And the shop bought kombucha, it's not as healthy as making your own. I do have, I'm not active in it any longer, but I've got a Facebook group that you're welcome to join if you wanted to learn about brewing your own kombucha. It takes you literally from what you need to get in order to make your first batch of kombucha, and how, the whole process. It takes about a 2-week process, but you can, do it bite size, drip feed into it. So if you want access to that group, just, send me a comment kombucha below, or find me on Instagram if you're on Instagram, or Facebook. I'm at Kate Hartley UK on them both, and just send me a message and then I can get you that link faster. I try and check in with my comments like every couple of days on YouTube, but I am more active on my Instagram and my Facebook. So if you're on either of those, find me at Kate Hartley UK and I will send you that link to that free kombucha group. Incidentally, I am running a Better Belly challenge that starts today, in actual fact, the 2nd of September. But you can join it whenever you like. I'm literally breaking it down, this in much more detail. So gut health, menopause, weight loss, healthy energy, literally taking the sort of holistic envelopes of how to improve your sleep, how to identify foods that help you with this, that, and the other. You get workouts included in it. It's a gut healing system that we're following. So you will be removing inflammatory foods, allowing your gut to heal. And I promise you, you will feel incredible afterward. So if you're watching this post September the 2nd, please also just message me either on Instagram or pop a comment below, because I can still add you to that group. And it doesn't matter when you start, I will still support you from your day 1 through to your day 4, week 4 and beyond. It is so, I cannot stress how important gut health is for your overall health, and your trip through the menopause. Gut health is also really important for how well you manage to lose weight or not. So you might, if you compared yourself to somebody else who does exactly the same amount of exercise, sleeps exactly the same amount of hours, has the same quality of sleep, eats exactly the same food, and that individual loses weight easily, excess weight I'm talking about, because skinny is not healthy either, and you're struggling, it could well be down to your gut bacteria, because the healthy bacteria translate into whether we burn fat effectively or not. It's also linked to our insulin levels, which have a tendency to go up as we go through the menopause, just due to the various hormones and the relationship that they have. It doesn't mean that you have to be the victim of your insulin and your gut bacteria. When you are eating food to improve your gut bacteria, you're also going to be positively impacting, so reducing your insulin resistance, so improving your insulin sensitivity, which is what you want. Because when our insulin levels are consistently raised, it actually locks the ability of the cell to shed fat. So I'm going to be going into this in our Better Belly challenge in much more detail too, because it's fascinating. It's really, really interesting. And once you understand how your body's working and the various little things that you can do to help it, it's amazing the results that you can get. So for instance, if you are struggling to lose weight, it might well be down to the healthy versus bad bacteria balance in your gut. Now, there have been lots of studies done on poor mice and rats, but mice that literally had been born into a 100% sterile environment. They were injected, or however they did it, infused with bacteria of fat gaining bacteria and weight loss, sort of healthy bacteria. And the mice that were given the fat gaining bacteria gained weight. They had all sorts of cravings. They were just like drinking the sugar water like crazy. The mice that had the healthy bacteria, they just wanted a healthy, normal diet, mouse diet. We've also seen, there's been more and more studies on humans, something called the crapsule. But essentially, it's the transplant of healthy fecal bacteria, so healthy gut matter, I would say, into a person who's struggling with serious obesity. And that also proves very successful. I'm not sure of the sort of readiness of that or the availability of that just yet. I think there's probably a lot of kickback, and probably quite rightly so, against, you know, the transplant from a poo, basically, from one person to another. I don't know how they sort of rule out other pathogens that could be moved across, but there is so much research on it at the moment, and it really is fascinating. If you're somebody like me who loves learning and researching and studying all this stuff, you can literally spend hours on it. So avoid spending hours, but just understand that by using healthy gut bacteria in a patient that's really struggled with weight gain, you know, obesity, and all the diseases and the problems that come linked to obesity, it has a positive impact. So fear not, there is always something that you can do. If you're thinking, well, how do I even know if I've got like good gut bacteria or not? Do you have regular stools? Do you manage to do a nice tidy poo? Is it a nice tidy poo that doesn't smell really badly? Do you struggle with constipation? Do you have diarrhea? That might indicate an imbalance. If it's very smelly, again, that might indicate an imbalance. People get all like, ooh, talking about poo, but it's you know, none of us do gold lame poos. We all have to get rid of the stuff at some point during the day, hopefully. And then as far as immunity, around 70% of our immune system resides around the gut. So when our gut is compromised, so for instance, you know, you've got the imbalance, you've got bad bacteria versus the good bacteria, and you've got too many of the bad bacteria, that can affect the integrity of the gut lining. So exercise, for instance, has been proven to help improve the mucosity layer around the gut lining, because if we've got the bad bacteria, it can actually lead to leaky gut. And leaky gut allows then some of the toxins and the bacteria out of our intestine into the bloodstream. We don't want it there, because then that triggers our immune cells. Our immune cells become more sensitized as we go through the menopause as well, because of the falling estrogen levels. So these things are looking, well, I'm on high alert. Well, we want to make sure that our gut health, that the mucous membrane in our gut is strong enough, that the lining of our gut is healthy, so those bacteria are not passing through. Because as soon as they do, that leads to chronic inflammation. Chronic inflammation is associated with so many diseases: cancer, heart disease, dementia, Parkinson's, so much. You do not want stuff passing through your gut. So you want to really focus on healing your gut and making sure that you've got that right balance of healthy bacteria. Just quickly chat about short chain fatty acids, because they're also really important. They produce various things, but one of the most important components is butyrate. That helps with that integrity of maintaining that gut lining. It helps to reduce the inflammation, and it can support our mental health by binding to that vagus nerve that I mentioned earlier in the video. So if you are thinking, well, maybe I have got a problem, you can talk to your doctor. They might be able to do a stool test for you in the surgery. If not, you can actually send off for home stool tests and get your stools sampled that way, and then at least it will give you a good indication of whether you're struggling specifically with an imbalance, and it might even be able to tell you what imbalance you've got, so that you know how to effectively target that. If you take like a multi-duffulus supplement, or, you know, a healthy probiotic from the health shop, ideally take it on an empty stomach, because when we eat food, the acids in our stomach are sort of stimulated, and it might have an impact on how well that supplement gets through the gut to the colon where it needs to be, in order to release the good stuff that it contains. So ideally eat them have them on an empty stomach to help maximize the impact of taking those healthy probiotics. So dietary recommendations. You have to decide, do you really want a healthy gut and a healthy mind and to get through the menopause better? Because if you do, you're going to hate what I'm going to say, but cut out processed foods, cut out refined sugars. I promise you, once you start to eat healthily, you're not even going to crave those things. It's amazing how your mentality around the foods that you're probably thinking, oh, but I love them, changes completely. Once you start to feed your body with food, proper food, you don't have those cravings for those foods. They're not foods, they're toxic. They're absolutely full of rubbish and they're absolutely doing you no good at all. So it is a choice, and avoid them. Avoid the sugars. Alcohol is not good for your gut health either, as much as I love it too. I just adore my wine. It's not going to be beneficial for your gut health. If you decide to do the Better Belly Challenge with me, you will be not required, but it's in your best interest to cut out alcohol for 4 weeks too. I've got various strategies to help you manage that, because I love my glasses of wine in the evening, and so I have to sort of double down. But also after a week or so, you're thinking, feeling great. I'm doing this really, really well. And so I will help you through that as well. You want to be eating a wide range of fruit and vegetables, just healthy foods, proteins. Especially as you go through menopause, make sure you're eating lots of lean, healthy protein. Your first meal of the day should ideally possibly containing vegetables. You might think, ooh, that's really weird at the beginning of the day. My first meal of the day tends to be a few oats. It has Greek yogurt in it. I have a adaptogenic herb superfood shake on top of that, which contains protein, adaptogen herbs, pre and probiotics, digestive enzymes. I also have milled linseed in there, very high in protein. I also have a range of berries and a few mango chunks sometimes as an extra special treat, and probably put some sunflower seeds or pumpkin seeds on top of that as well. That is a really healthy breakfast. Off the top of my head, I can't remember how many grams of protein it gives me, but I love it, and it keeps me going for quite a while. I normally have that before my workout, and then after I've done my workout, I have a round of home-baked sourdough bread toast, because I've just started baking sourdough, and 1 or 2 eggs on top with some green beans. Always add veggies to that post-workout meal, prebiotics, and also vitamins and minerals, fiber, etc. And I also scatter some nutritional yeast on top of that. And then that's really stacked my morning healthily. And then the rest of the meal's lunch is often quite light. And then my evening meal, again, will be focused very much around protein and vegetables. And if I feel like a snack after my dinner, which is rare, but last night I did, and I would have, again, some Greek yogurt, which I mix with a few more of my superfoods, adaptogen herbs, and probably some berries again. Berries are really good because they are very high in fiber, bursting with antioxidants, all sorts of different colors. I have lots of different berries, and they don't spike your insulin levels so much because, you know, they don't have that much sugar, but they're bursting with other good stuff. So if you're thinking, ooh, Greek yogurt with no flavors, add some berries, or, you know, have some banana, chop up half a banana into it as well. People go, oh, you shouldn't eat banana, it'll make you fat. Just like, for heaven's sake, it's a really healthy fruit. Yes, it's slightly higher on the sugar index, but it's natural sugars. Bananas contain a wealth of other vitamins and minerals that we need, are very high in fiber as well. If you're eating bananas for your potassium, you'd need to eat between 11 and 14 a day. So you're not going to get your potassium through your bananas. It will help contribute a small amount, but you're looking for your green leafy vegetables for that, as well as your calcium. If you don't like Greek yogurt, look at other options. There's all sorts of different stuff. You know, go and Google. I think with something like this, you hear, well, I don't eat dairy, so I can't possibly do that. And in fact, during our gut healing system, you will not be eating dairy. We remove that completely. You'll be eating things like coconut yogurt instead. Because we want to remove all possible inflammatory foods while your gut heals completely. And then at the end of it, you will start to reintroduce certain foods if you want to, and you'll see, because you track everything, you'll see what's responding well to you and what's not responding so well. Because a lot of your menopausal symptoms, you will notice that if you have a coffee, it probably sets off a hot flush. If you're thirsty, you get a hot flush. If you've had a coffee, you might get more anxious. If you've had sugar, it makes your joints ache. If you've had artificial sweetener, it makes your joints ache. There's all sorts, and caffeine as well, and joint pain is very well documented. There are all sorts of different things that you're eating and drinking or not eating and drinking, and it's having a negative impact on your menopause symptoms, but you're just not aware of that link yet. So during that 4-week gut healing system, you will learn about that triggers this. I remember there was one day in the car, I was hungry, I'd been to the supermarket, I was thirsty, I hadn't taken some water with me stupidly, and there was some smint in my central console. I thought, oh, I'll just have a smint. Literally within seconds of eating this thing, my joints are just like, what's happened to my wrists and my thumb joints? And it was remarkable. And I thought the only thing I've had is a smint. And so I did the smint test again couple of weeks later, same thing happened. Artificial sweeteners. I know people say, oh, well, it's 0 calories and it doesn't spike my blood sugars properly. Avoid them. They are not healthy. You are healthier having raw natural sugar or honey or high quality maple syrup or dates. Dates are nature's candy if you feel like a sweet. Avoid the artificial sweeteners. They are not good for you. And there's more and more research showing that they're actually very detrimental for your gut health, as well as the other things that there's more research on. So I'm not going to go into artificial sweeteners in any great detail, except for the fact that avoid them, ideally. If you have leaky gut, you've probably been advised actually to have L-glutamine and zinc carnosine, which can help with the integrity of the gut lining. But those can be really helpful supplements if you're struggling with your gut health. So in closing, menopause brings a lot of changes. It's not the be all and end all. You can make significant changes to improve your journey through the menopause. And by looking after your gut health, you are seriously going to positively impact your mental health. And is that not worth making a few changes to help your gut? So I hope that's been helpful. Drop in the comments, have you focused on your gut health to improve your mental health? Are you struggling with your gut health at the moment and wondering what to do in order to improve your gut health? And I will drop a link to the Better Belly challenge form if you wanted to learn more about that. And like I say, I know today technically we're starting our first wave of that group, but you can join it wherever. And if you want to get access to that free Facebook kombucha group as well, more than happy to send that link to you. So thank you so much for your company, and I will look forward to chatting with you again next week.